Hi, I'm David Marsh, and welcome to Exploring the Human Journey.
Exploring the Human Journey.
Hi, and welcome to Exploring the Human Journey. I'm David Marsh. Today, I'm so excited. We've got sweet Lady Gail on set, and our special guests today are Rod, Lyman, and Cyndee Movie. They do the Rod and Cyndee podcast. Guys, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you for having us.
So
Absolutely.
we got a chance to be on your podcast, so I figured this would be a chance for you guys to be on our show and explore the human journey together.
Absolutely.
Sounds great. Let's do it.
So you guys have been doing a podcast. You've been enlightening consciousness. You've been bringing forth things that people are interested in. In the spirituality category, you guys are ranking really high, and you're talking about things people are interested in. Talking about spirituality. Give me some context to how you guys decided, hey, let's start a podcast.
Well, it was all Cyndee's idea. I didn't want anything to do with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole thing was that Cyndee came to me and she says, I want to use your voice in this. And I was like, no, I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
No.
I can see that. Totally see it.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was that I like to spread the word. I'm a teacher. I teach a lot of different classes and spirituality classes, but I wanted a larger audience. I wanted to get out more of this information where people didn't have to pay for it. It was something free.
Yeah.
So talking to Cyndee and everything else, she's got a great radio voice herself, and said, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's just make something for the people to give back to the beautiful people that have helped us so much in the past too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Our different subjects that we have shared are pretty interesting just themselves. And I did a segment for a while there of the sacred feminine, something that came to me that I had a huge passion for and still do. Would like to do some more of those. And it's just a great way to share this wonderful information that I've experienced or other people experience, or it's just out there in a larger way. Thank goodness for technology that we have this resource to do this. And Rod and I started our podcast, the two of us just together, and really fun and exciting. We're sharing our experiences. We've had some amazing experiences. So more to come.
Leo the dog is here, and he's part of the family.
You're wondering.
He has a chew toy, and if we play with him, he'll play with it. That's Gail's dog. She loves Leo the dog.
Wow.
I love him too, but he loves Gail way more than me.
Okay. Super cute. Super cute.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
The feminine is really important because I was brought up in a context of a masculine male god, and the woman was subject to the man. And as I began to understand more about consciousness, it's about the equal and opposite polarities, and it's not even about gender, man or woman. It's about the masculine and feminine. Mm-hmm. And I know that Gail she's really strong in the feminine, but she also has a lot of authority and a lot of power with that. And I've learned in my life that if I don't listen to something she says, I generally get in trouble. And
it's not by me. You're not getting in trouble by me.
No, it's not that. Gail doesn't get me in trouble. What gets me in trouble is circumstances if I don't listen to the wisdom from the feminine. And, how are you guys so much cooler than me? How does that work?
It's funny that you bring that up. There used to be a theory. It's called the peeing on the electric fence theory. It's because the idea was that
I did that as a kid, so I
did
can
too.
relate
I
to
was too,
that.
because we could relate to that, because it's like, I don't care what anybody tells you, that it's going to hurt, that you're going to do something until, you prove yourself right. Yeah, it did hurt. I guess you're right. I'm not going to do it.
Oh, like a tongue on a cold pole?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I did that one. I lived in Montana.
Yeah. You weren't a kid out on the range with the cows and the electric fence.
But I had the poles and the ice.
Makes sense.
Yep. So we've all stuck our tongue on a pole then?
No,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a Phoenician. I don't
Well,
know
that's
about
right.
the
She's
story.
from Phoenix. She's
I mean, she was born and raised in Phoenix, so
Yeah.
you've never even seen cold weather.
Absolutely.
South
Visited.
Dakota.
Ab-
Yeah.
South Dakota, yes.
Visited it. but
Gail
never
grew
lived
up in Butte, Montana. It's cold there all the
Yeah.
time. You know, my family's from the Northwest. It snowed last night, you know, and they've got
Yeah.
piles of snow.
We've got tons of pictures of snow coming
Yeah.
in.
Oh, yay.
So, but you find yourself in an area where you're comfortable. We're comfortable here in the Phoenix area, and then you start to find yourself kind of in the work that you're doing or the things that you're saying. You guys feel really comfortable in the spirituality category. You find that that's a natural thing. Rod, you're very sensitive to energy. Now, Cyndee, you're very sensitive to energy too.
Absolutely.
In fact, we tried to film an episode of this, and Cyndee was sitting right by the camera, and the entire card got erased. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame her officially, but it sure was a coincidence that she was sitting right next to
Well, synchronicity is a coincidence coming hand in hand with Cyndee, you know. When she's upset about something, I can feel it all the way from here to Oregon.
Yeah.
I was at an Oregon stoplight in Oregon, Portland actually it was, and I was stopped there, and all of a sudden the street lights went out. My car, which was a hybrid car, it dies. I look over, my phone dies. Everything dies all at once, and that the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, Cyndee's upset about something.
Yeah.
Finally got a hold of her an hour later, and yes, she was very angry. Something had happened, and she threw her energy out there. And that's what happens is Cyndee has this beautiful projective energy, and she can project energy wherever she wants to.
Yeah.
It's just, and she's just fine. I'm not going to say that she's new to this. She's known for a long time that she's had this. It's just working with it and playing with it.
Yeah. And it's growing stronger all the time too.
Yeah.
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 So
Is it that you're also more aware of just what it does?
yes. Being with Rod, yes, I've learned that what I can do, my abilities, if you will, my gifts. I didn't realize that before. I always questioned, like, wow, why is that, you know? But I never really got it until Rod and I, you know, were together, and he helps me to understand and see what it is that's happening. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, ABC 1, 2, 3, I get it now, you know?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, I'm like her seeing eye dog
Yeah.
that can talk.
That's right.
Now, you guys started as a student and teacher and student.
Absolutely.
And then your relationship progressed to where you began to like each other and hanging out all the time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
We're still in that phase.
Yeah, still trying to decide if you like each other.
Exactly. I'm still deciding. Like she's got it all down. She already knows she doesn't like me.
Yeah, you know, I mean, hey.
I like doing spiritual stuff with you.
Oh, yeah. Really? All right.
Well, I mean, so Gail and I met, 30 years ago. We were in college together, and we've been married for 28 years. We've had a long time to work on a relationship. I was recently reading in A Course in Miracles, Leo the dog. I was reading in A Course in Miracles. It's talking about the specialness of a relationship. And it was new information to me. I'm like, well, yeah, of course we're special. It's my wife. She's special. But what it means is a relationship that you say is going to fulfill you and make you whole. And so if that person doesn't fulfill you and make you whole, then you suddenly start to get mad and resentful towards that person because I have a need and you didn't meet it. So now you're the problem because you didn't meet my need. And I was like, wow, that is really insightful.
And powerful.
Yeah. Because how many times do you get into a fight over whatever, and it's like, well, you didn't do this, and I expected you to do that. Right. Have you guys worked through relationship things to where you're, or are you guys just totally cool and perfect because you already been there, done
We're
that?
running around. We're talking to the choir right now.
You guys don't ever have any challenges
No,
to come
nothing.
up.
We never yell at each other, never pick on each other.
Oh, well, congratulations. Thank you guys. It's been a great episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
No, are you kidding me? So, okay, so now that you understand chakras, we talked about chakras.
Yeah,
and
thank you for
that if we live in our lower chakras, that's when the fights come. That's when the expectations are. This is when we start thinking, it's like, well, you didn't fulfill these needs that I have below the diaphragm.
Right in there.
Yeah,
Below the belt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, my power center, my sexuality,
Yeah.
my creativity, my home life, my family,
Your foundation, your
foundation,
tribal
tribal
identity.
identity of who I am. That if you're not petting that, and making me happy by petting those chakras,
Stroke
and
that ego.
it's like you're not fulfilling your duties as a relationship. No, think about it. Think about the relationship above the diaphragm, and that she fulfills everything in my heart, and she fulfills we have these great conversations, and insight. We see things the same way. In that spirituality, we see things the same way.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yeah, she fulfills every one of my needs above the diaphragm.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not saying she doesn't below the diaphragm too, but I'm just saying that that's what we look for in a spiritual sense.
Well, you made that distinction on an episode you and I shot.
Absolutely.
Where you said Carl Jung kind of made that distinction where anything below that mid frame is kind of, the human, the base, but anything above is more of the spiritual.
Absolutely.
And, I think that's interesting. So you guys have been able to integrate the whole energy flow.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I've heard you talk about you see energy with each other, or you share it. Give some context to that.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's yours.
No, go ahead.
Because I've heard you say things like, "Oh yeah, I can see her energy," or "She can see my energy." Because Gail looks at me and she's really perceptive, and I'm just like, "Oh, me caveman, her girl," really simple like that.
Cyndee has this essence about her that is just this beautiful energy, the essence, and that's what I see in her. It was the first time I gave her as a Reiki treatment, and I saw this beautiful essence in her. Didn't know what it was at the time, but her essence is what has driven me and got me to where I'm at, been around me, and everything else. Now, also, she sees my essence. She sees the beauty within me of my energies. And it's looking past the physical of a person and just seeing the essence only.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was the thing that I grew up, remember, only seeing the energy part of people, the spirituality part of people. I thought everybody was beautiful. I had when somebody's like, "Oh gosh, that person's ugly," or something like that.
Now, Rod, just to give something for our viewers, tell a little bit more why that and how that came about. That you were seeing the energy.
You want to hear the story.
We want to hear the story.
Come on, man.
There's a backstory to this.
Yeah, backstory.
This angel came down, touched me on the forehead, and said, "Rod." Yes, there's.
I thought it was a UFO.
That was yes.
Oh, yeah.
Came out of a UFO. Angel.
Okay.
There you go. That'll work.
I was repairing the UFO at the time. Anyway, so no, as a child, at 8 years old, then I fell down a flight of stairs. And boom, 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 boom. That's from people that don't understand, like people Phoenicians and people that don't know what basements are.
Yeah,
we had basements, cellars, or whatever else, and we kept our produce in, kept it better down there. Anyway, so I fell down the flight of stairs, and we had cement floors. And I hit every step going down, and I hit the cement floor. And I was out. I don't know how long I laid down there. Next thing I know is I remember being picked up and rushed upstairs. And I'm seeing lights and everything else. But I'm not seeing a physical body anymore. I'm seeing energy.
Wow.
And I'm trying to figure out and decipher what was what, But then the voices and the energy, I started realizing, oh, that's my mother and that's my sister. I started realizing whose energy is what and everything, what it was. And I didn't know it was energy at the time. Remember, I just thought it was fog. But of course, when I tell my mother, it's like, "Mom, I can't see you. I can't see you." And she says, "Shh, don't tell anybody. You're weird enough already. We'll live with that."
So you were the weird kid.
I was always the weird kid. Oh my gosh, I was the black sheep of the family, of all the families, of the town, the city, the state. I was the black kid, black sheep of the family. So anyway, I started living my life that way. You didn't go to doctors for no reason or anything else. That wasn't a reason to take me to a doctor. So after that, as I was 12 years old later, my sight started getting better. I started seeing physicalities, the forms of people and everything else. But I still would see them more as that fog of anything. So I'm climbing this tree. It's a great big huge oak tree. I mean, I'm way up there. I mean, way up there. And I broke a branch, and not normal. I know what branches will hold me in that. And I went boom, 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 and I fell down all the way down. Until a friend of mine was in the crevice of the Y of a tree and I fell right on him, basically.
Oh, wow.
He caught me and held me. He knocked the breath out of him and everything else. I thought he was going to die. And then he couldn't hold on to me anymore, but let me down. It was only like 6 feet above. Anyway, so I was unconscious and everything too. I was limp. And I woke up. I don't know who was over me. I still to this day have no idea who's all around me at that time. But this time, it was just waves And that's all it was, is just waves. And I mean, everything, the tree was waves, everything was waves. There's nothing that was formed. And said, are you okay to walk home? I said, I can't see. You know, I really have no idea where I'm at. And so my friend actually walked me home and everything else. And you know, it got me to the house, and my mom, he said, he fell out of a tree. What happened to him? You know, he fell out of a tree. He's like, oh my gosh. You know, laid me on the couch, you know, put ice on me and everything else. And I tell my mom, this says, Mom, I really can't see anybody right now. She says, how many fingers am I holding up? Mom, I really can't see anything. How many fingers do I have up? I think you have 2 fingers up, because I saw waves, like sparks going out like this.
Wow.
And so it's like 2. And she says, you're fine.
Wow.
So the idea now is that I really am blinded to everything. I'm 12 years old and I really can't see. So I'd go and help and do the chores and everything else, and the animals had this interesting energy. The trees had this interesting energy. Everything had an interesting energy to it.
Now, did you think it was energy
Nope,
at the time?
absolutely not.
What did it feel like?
Yeah,
to
'cause
you
you're a
from
kid.
a 12-year-old mind?
Right. No, 12-year-old mind, it was a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's fog.
Okay.
It was just, that's all it was, is just fog forms. And it's like it's something that you'd feel like that you're walking to a cave and mist, and mist would form. That's what I thought. I couldn't even describe it. It was like walking in clouds constantly. But my intuition, my feeling, my empath, being an empath, I used that for my sight. I was able to use both to feel and see, because I wasn't able to do that. I was 42 years old, and this lady looks at me and she says, Rod, how do you see things? How do you see people? How do you see me? So, like everybody else. And you got a little yellow over here, you got some green over here, and that you got some pink going on here. You got something's going on with your higher self, and that you're having a love with your higher self and everything. And she's like, interesting. Now, I'm not in spirituality. I'm a religious-based person. I came from a religious-based person. That this is what I came up with after all these 42 years, is that this is how people saw things. They saw it in colors and waves and everything else, and they're not forms. I thought, wow, how crazy is this? I can see in my mind, I can see figures, not with my eyes.
Wow.
So it would decipher. And so I'd look at you and it's like, okay, this is what I think she looks like. This is what I think you look like. And I would make my mind up, but then I got judgmental about it. And it's like, no, I can't do that. I just want to see them as a form. I love living in the spiritual sense more than the physical form.
Huh.
So I gave Cyndee this session. When I touch people, I see things, okay? So I see stories. And it's really interesting, I saw Cyndee walking up the steps and everything else. That there's this beautiful essence and everything else. So I thought this is how Cyndee looked. Did not realize that we started getting together and we started hanging out with each other and everything else. That started finding out that the longer I stared at her, I could actually start seeing the form of her. Now remember, this made me really good at what I do. I'm a structural therapist, I'm a medical intuitive, I do all this stuff. I'm able to see right where the hurt is. And Cyndee uses me constantly. It's like, oh, my neck hurts, and I go right to the area. She's like, yep, right there.
It's true.
So,
That's nice.
It is
and
nice.
so
It's a good tool to have.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's also, it made me good and bad at sports, because energy precedes itself. And so you actually can see where the ball is going or anything else in that, but you get caught up in that. And so baseball I was never good at. Energy precedes itself, so I'm swinging too early all the time.
Oh.
Football I was good at because I saw where the energy was going before it got there. Thing was, I was always focused on where the ball was and not anything that was around me.
Oh.
And you get knocked.
Yeah, you get a big blocker coming up and you didn't pay attention. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I was good at different things like that, but not good at a lot of other things. I was really good at motorcycle riding, motocross, car racing. I was really good at all those things. That I love fast things because energy moves fast. And when you look at a person's body, it moves fast. Cyndee's making dinner one night. And I'm just staring at her as, you know, we take turns making dinner, and she was in her kitchen, and I was just staring at her. All of a sudden, I could see Cyndee for who she was. I could actually see the physical form of Cyndee, which I thought that was the craziest thing. I have not, since I was 8 years old, been able to see an actual physical form of a person. And I actually could see Cyndee's physical form. Kind of blew me away a little bit. So I was like, hey, I can actually see you. And so I found out that after working on it for a while, I can start seeing the physical form. But it's like Cyndee will tell you, within a month of me playing with it, I went back to just wanting to see. Because there's so much about people that you miss.
Yeah.
And Cyndee even can tell you that I actually got judgmental for a week. I would look at somebody and I was like, oh my gosh, why are they eating that? They shouldn't be eating that. And I got judgmental about things because I saw them as a physical form now. Not what they truly were made of.
Now does this come from, I know you've got that long history, but does this work into your Reiki practice?
Absolutely.
Because you told me that when you got into Reiki, it was kind of like begrudgingly, and then you took on a student, and it wasn't that you necessarily wanted to.
Nope.
Tell that story.
You tell this story. This is your story now.
Wow, I'm the student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody told you that you should be a Reiki
Yes.
practitioner and have a student.
Yes.
Right. Well, I was taught Reiki, and I healed myself, and through that, there's different things. I mean, that's another whole long story in that. But I didn't want to teach
that's
Reiki.
a really good story. I don't want you guys.
Oh my gosh!
So Rod
Yeah.
is a Reiki practitioner. It's moving energy. It's
Right. Universal energy.
universal energy. He's got something in his body. You got to hear this.
So I was diagnosed with lymphoma, and I had cancer and lymphatics and everything, and it balled up in an area on the side here, which was actually the size of a grapefruit. I mean, it actually balled up and made grapefruit. Basically, they tested it, took it out, and everything else. That said, go home. We just want to make you comfortable.
Oh boy.
We're going to call hospice, and we're going to set up appointments and everything else. Well, I'm going like a bat out of hell. I forget about that I'm even sick or anything else because I learned this new modality called Reiki. So I'm just running around touching everybody that I can. I'm just having a great time with it. And I'm laying there, and this young lady that I knew at the time, that she went and gave me a hug, and that she goes, when are you going to do something about that? I was like, oh my gosh, I keep forgetting about that. And she says, why don't you just Reiki it, heal yourself? It's like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, she goes, heal the healer. Remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right, heal the healer. But I always thought it was you give a healing, you get a healing. That's my whole philosophy of the healing was you give a healing, you get a healing. No, you can heal yourself too. So I was like, okay, I really believe in this. I really do. This is something I really believe. So actually that night I'm laying there and I placed my hands, both hands, I did all my symbols and everything else and called upon it and that. Now remember, it's not our energy. We're not the healers. It's the universal energy that we use. We channel energy. It's not us. We're just the vessels to that. So I was there to heal the vessel. So I placed my hands on there. I closed my eyes. Within a minute, I felt it shrink. And I'm like, something just happened. So you believe more.
You could physically feel
I
it.
physically felt it shrink a little bit. I mean, it was so minute, but I'm so sensitive, movement and energy and everything else. I felt that. And I went and I was like, oh, this is cool. I felt that. So that even makes you believe more. And the more you believe it, the faster it is that I could start doing it, and I fell asleep. I woke up the next morning, my hands were completely flat against my body. The tumor was completely gone.
Wow.
Fascinating.
I go,
It is.
oh my gosh, something just happened. And I had to tell the world. And that's why I wanted to teach it, but I wasn't ready yet. You think you have to know everything to teach something. And I found out, and Dave and I talked about this before that, I found out that if I want to learn something, I need to teach it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want to be a teacher. That was far from my thought. Hence, Cyndee walks into my life.
Mm-hmm.
You want to tell the story?
So somebody somewhere told you that there was a teacher. How was that? How was that?
Yes, so it was a Saturday, and I went to a psychic weekend, and there were some readers there. And this one particular lady, I had heard about her, so I wanted to hopefully get a reading from her. I was lucky enough to get a reading from her. While doing the reading, she looked at my hands. She said, oh, they're pink and warm. You're a healer. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I said, well, I've already got a deposit with this other person. And for whatever reason, the universe does things for, reasons, right?
Yeah.
I never was able to connect with this woman to learn Reiki, even though I gave her this huge deposit. So she said, well, you know what? If you like, I know a female and a male Reiki teacher if you are interested. And I said, you know what? I am. I choose the man. And so lucky enough, I was able to get my deposit back. And so she calls him that same day after my reading.
Well,
and-
you're right, still there when she
Oh
called.
yeah, I
right?
was still there. I was still there.
So she's there, and yeah, this one, other woman's name is Cyndee too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cynthia. Yeah. So she's on the phone, and I only hear her side of the conversation. She's like, "No, you've got to do this. You have to teach this young lady. You're going to like her. You've got to just do it. That's
No,
all I can hear on
Not
my
gonna
end.
like her. You're gonna fall in love with this one. She
Yeah.
said, yeah. That's what she said.
Wow.
And on the other side of it was like, "Are you kidding me? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not teaching anything. I don't want to do this." She said, "No, you have to do this." I was like, "No, are you kidding me?" He said, "Hey, just hang up the phone. I'll give her the phone." "Don't give her the phone. I want to talk to her." I mean, there was a whole conversation. It was like, "I'm not ready for this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this, that. Why don't you guys just meet?" So we met at Starbucks.
So she's like, great, I need some information. You're like,
Like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. But we decided to meet to make sure connection was good. If he wanted
Right.
to teach me, if I wanted him to be my teacher. For me, this was spirituality was still new to me, and I was a seeker. I was, anything and anywhere and any place, blah, 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 I can go to learn anything about spirituality. I was all for it. I was gung-ho for it. So I was, of course, excited to meet him and hoping that the connection would work really well. And so, and it didn't. No, I'm kidding.
No, I was not excited to meet her.
it's like an obligation. You had to do.
Exactly. It's like, oh,
You're like
God,
trying to figure out how am I going to get out
How
of
am I
this?
gonna get out
50
of
ways
this?
of how I'm
Exactly.
going to get out of
Right.
this.
50
Yeah.
days.
I'm starting to feel sick.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should call her. I don't want to do this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then guess what?
Yes. Well, then I fell in love with her.
Uh-huh.
So how much did you charge her for the first
Oh my God.
experience?
This is great. So I'm like, one of his first clients, kind of. I don't know how many you had touched before me, but he charged me
In a professional way.
in a professional way, yes.
I had a good. I had a
Energy-wise.
really good client base already.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're just.
Did
one
you
of
charge
them.
her about
You're
$75?
You're just one of
I
them.
was $75. Yes, everybody was.
$75.
That's a normal rate.
It was.
That's
It
what
was.
I thought. And I didn't question it whatsoever. I'm like, okay, I'm all in. I want to learn this. I want to feel this. I want to know what I'm in for, because he wanted me to have a session to know what I was in for before he, actually taught it. And so I was like, okay, $75, that's all good. And then, we went to lunch after that. Of course, I had to pay for that too.
Oh.
So $100 later.
So you're his
No, you-
student. You pay, and then he makes you take him to
So you
lunch.
didn't pay for just your lunch. You
Yeah.
paid for
Oh,
his
absolutely.
lunch.
Exactly.
Oh,
I
okay.
was like, oh yes, the master does not
You're
pay
the
for things.
master. I get it. I get it.
Master does not pay for things. Student must pay.
Oh, it's so good.
Expectations
Part of your
below my
lesson.
diaphragm. He's part of my lesson.
Yeah.
Just watch me eat. I'm going to get dessert too. So
I'm a hell of a eater.
yeah, I'm going to fill up on this.
That's
I
right.
haven't eaten all week.
Oh.
I got to tell you though, the session was absolutely divine. I saw things that were just amazing. When I came out of that session, I was just so not here. I was in this huge bliss, this euphoria, and I wanted to stay there forever.
Hmm.
It
Now
was
that's
so
a
beautiful.
Reiki where you were on the table and your eyes are closed. You're in a relaxed state.
Mhm.
Does he put his hands on you or
Mhm.
over you?
Yep, on. And some people do hover above. He touches, as I do. To me, I feel like it's a better connection personally. I think he does as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so, yeah, I laid there in comfort and peace and received the energies and the healing and this beautiful experience.
Mhm.
And it was just amazing.
Now, Gail's done Reiki sessions with Rod. Have you done a Reiki session with Cyndee at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I know that you've given great wise advice to our daughter, so I give you
Thank you.
gratitude for that.
Thank you.
And you also do color energy
Yes,
therapy.
yes.
Tell me about that.
Thank you. I would like to. So after becoming a Reiki master, thank you, Rod, I learned other modalities in the energy aspect. But I'm the kind of person I like to step out of the box a little bit and have it, my way, more unique and fun. So one day it came to me, color therapy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I called the used bookstore and they had a book. Went down there and got my book, and
There's
started
actually
reading.
a book about color
Mhm.
therapy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I started reading it and I knew nothing about it.
Hmm.
So I put the book aside And I just, kind of let it go. And then a couple years later, I was at this panel of 5, and it was one of those where you write your question down anonymously, and they pull you. Eventually, your question gets pulled, and the panel of 5 gives their reading of how they do, whether it's forensic handwriting or angel cards, what have you. So the panel they all went through the circuit, and then the one lady, she said, I've got something else to share. She said something about my letter G or something, had a hook on it. She goes, oh, you need to do color therapy. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. And I didn't even ask that question at all. I don't even remember what my question was.
So it was all in the way you wrote your G.
Yeah, it was my panel that we had actually a forensic handwriter. She's been on many different shows and that. She's awesome. She's a dear friend of mine then. We had angel card reader. She's going to be on Celebrate Your Life now. She's awesome. I love her to death. We had a clairvoyant, and we had a medium, and myself that was on there. It was just, we had so much fun doing these panels. So Cyndee goes and she does her class, but to make it shorter, I'm going to tell this part and then you go back to your story, is that Cyndee actually last year got to sit on the panel and be the part of the panel.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
This year.
Oh, this year. It was this year.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
very awesome. I did my
Awesome.
color end of it. So
Nice.
my intuitive colors. So anyways, long story short, I went to Switzerland and learned color therapy. So that's how I do my
Wow.
energy work. I do without colors.
Switzerland. Why? I mean, what compelled
Is that the
you
University
to go
of Color
all
Therapy?
the way
Right.
to Switzerland?
That's where they make Swiss energy.
And chocolate.
Swiss chocolate.
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 It's all about the
Swiss
chocolate.
cheese.
It's
Yep.
in the chocolate.
Swiss
Okay.
knives.
Swiss
Army
Army
knives.
knives.
No,
Yeah.
seriously, when things are supposed to happen, everything falls into place, right? So that was a Tuesday evening. I went home and I Googled, color therapy, and was so excited. I then the next day talked to my financial advisor and said, hey, what do you think? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So I read in the information, because I found this particular academy that I chose to go to. It said in there, Switzerland, to do a 2-week course, and it was a, what do you call that when it's condensed? A condensed course.
Oh,
A
like
2
the
weeks.
accelerated version of it.
Yes,
Boot
because
camp.
typically if it was
Boot
here,
camp.
boot camp.
Yeah.
Boot camp.
Because if it was here in the States, it was like, a few weekends, let's say. But the thing was, it said it was already closed. This was like April 2nd or something, and they'd already closed for signing up for that particular thing in March. I'm going, So I went, woke up the next morning, and I just kept hearing my higher self. It's always good to listen to it. And I just kept hearing, call, what is it going to hurt? Call, what is it going to hurt? And so after about the third time hearing that, I'm like, I'm going to call, what is it going to hurt? I dialed it up, talked to the lady. She said, you know what, if you can have your monies in on Friday, mind you, this is Wednesday. If you can have your monies in on Friday, you can go.
Wow.
And bam, everything fell into place. And
Synchronicity all over the place.
Totally. So it was meant to be, because she suddenly got that channeling of, you need to do color therapy. Like, where did that come from, right? And it had nothing to do with my question at all. And then to everything fall into place within, 4 days, from Tuesday to Friday. And that 2 months later in June, I was on the plane to Switzerland.
That's wonderful when
amazing.
those confluence of events work together perfectly.
Yeah.
So color therapy, is that an energy thing? Is that what clothes to wear? Is that what your aura looks like? I mean, tell me about what color therapy is.
Well, those are definitely color therapies and color analysis and things, but that's not what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the person laying on the table. So I do energy work without it. But here's the beautiful thing is, I have 21 different colored silks. Beautiful silks that are sacred. They've been blessed. I bought them through the academy. And so I lay those on the body.
Well, they're like 6 feet long. These are big
like
ones.
6 feet long,
Wow.
like 4
Like
feet wide. They're huge.
21 of them.
21 different
So
colors.
you lay all 21.
No.
Oh, I was like, wow.
No.
That'd be a little warm.
I
know,
you're like
right?
buried in color.
Yeah. No, I have 21 choices to choose
Okay.
from,
Okay.
which is huge. So I either
So from dark to light, every spectrum in
Absolutely.
between.
absolutely,
Red,
and
blues,
even
yellows.
metallics. I have
Metallics.
gold and silver.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. So I have all the chakras colors. So if I need to work on someone in a, in the chakra area, like say the heart, I'll put either green or pink on that area and then lay my hands and work with them. So what happens is the energy from the hands is one thing, but when you add color, because each color has its own vibration. So now you're adding that healing modality, the color, along with the universal healing.
Wow.
It's very powerful and it's very beautiful. People who have never seen color before, when they're done with the session, they're seeing colors.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
And how does that enhance or health and wellness or life? How does that help to know that?
To know the colors or how to use them?
How is a person helped by this?
Okay, so here's a really beautiful example. Rod and I were at a fair, and we were, vendors there doing our synchronized healings on people, and I always brought my colors and used my colors. So I listen to what I'm supposed to use, okay? I'll ask the person, what is it that needs to be healed, and I'll work on that, but I also intuitively know what to work on as well.
Oh, you feel that on the inside. Okay.
Very
Yes,
nice.
very intuitive. So this one beautiful lady, I, heard that I need to work on her heart chakra. Now, typically, more often than not, I always use pink for unconditional love. I felt that I needed to use green. Now, green is the color of the rainbow, right? Part of your rainbow chakra zone. I don't typically use green too much because it's a beautiful emerald green, so it's going to do some deeper healing, right? So I don't typically grab that one. But this particular time, I was guided to. So I did. I laid that beautiful green on her, did my energy work on her, and while doing so, I got the message of why I had to choose that color versus the pink. So when we were done with the session, I told her, I said, I was guided to use green for some deep healing. And she proceeded to tell me that 2 months prior to that, she had lost her husband suddenly.
Whoa.
So she had some deep, deep, deep hurt within her heart, of course, right? Naturally, losing her newly husband. They'd only been married, I think, like 6 months or something.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, short. Yeah, less than a year.
Yeah, it was less than a year. And so, of course, she was, hurting. And so that green was able to just penetrate so deep within to start bringing that healing out, so she can start healing, because she needs to move on with her life. Eventually, one day, to, live. And so this was able to go in there and just kind of grab and just beautifully heal and, the healing process.
Oh.
Wow.
So, yeah. And that's what I saw a man or a male figure when I was working on her. So she confirmed what I saw. I didn't know the circumstances, but she confirmed what I saw. So that's a perfect example of why the colors work, And so she felt that. She, of course, is very, crying, of course, afterwards, and because she was in her healing process. So it's beautiful and amazing. I love it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That is just
So
amazing.
the psychic energy, is that something you've always had, or is that new to you? Were you raised with a religious context?
I was solo in the religion area. I don't know. I was the only one in my family that went to church. I have no idea why. My parents sent me. My brother never went. My parents never went. But there was a reason for everything, right? So I did sort of, in a sense, grow up in the church way, not until I got to teenage, and then I stopped. Married my husband, and we kind of did the church thing. We baptized our boys. I got involved with the church, because I always had an ache for something with that. But again, like you, Dave, I came to a point where I was like, this just doesn't work for me. I know there's something better out there.
Yeah.
So I
Tell
found
about that Bible
spirituality.
study. Tell that Bible study.
Oh, the
story.
Bible study. Oh, my goodness. So I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was going to this Bible study with the moms. And after about the third one, I was like, oh, my goodness. This is terrible. I feel like all I'm doing is sinning 24/7 of my life. I'm like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
So I quit it all, and I'm like, okay, I know there's something better out there. I know there's something more beautiful. I just felt it and knew it, even though I didn't know what it was until I was awoken to it.
Is that whole separation where you're separate from God and you're not good enough to get to God, and that whole story. Oh,
Yeah.
And then people just walk around hopeless and angry, and they're like, well, fine, then I'm just going to commit atrocities and crimes. It's such an awful narrative to give people. And, I was given that narrative, and I gave my kids that narrative. And this show is kind of my therapy, how I'm deconstructing from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and to answer your question about my intuition,
Mm-hmm.
I think I had something all along, but I didn't know what it was, because I would listen to a voice or my gut, like you're supposed to, and but it wasn't until I found spirituality and learned so much about it, read things, went to things, was so involved, is when I really started understanding what my intuition was and what I could do and what my abilities and gifts were, or are.
So you just kind of became a sponge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's what everybody does when they first start out. Is that everybody wants to be a sponge. Everybody wants to get as much information as you can. And empaths, people that can feel that from another person. Because all of a sudden you feel like you have tentacles all over you because they have all these questions they want to ask you. And Rod, how about this? Rod, how about this? I'd love to see what's in your head. No, you don't. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because it's more than what you think it is.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. When you find yourself, when you really find who you are and really find what's inside you, that's when the hard work comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like you have this essence inside you, you know what you need to do. And the universe is pushing you to that. Well, the work comes is like now you have to not give up things, but you have to change your path a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm going to be more of a servant towards this way, more open your heart for this way, and that I can't hang around this anymore.
Yeah.
This is not for me anymore. And it does. The universe does that to you. It's like all of a sudden you change in so many different ways. You're not the same person. You're not the person that hangs out with these different people.
Yeah. So you've been in service of people. I'm sure you have. Rod shared his story with me that he's had tremendous blows, things that have happened to him financially, family-wise. Friends you've been betrayed and abandoned and abused. You had some rocky roads, And with the highs, there are the lows.
Right.
And yet you have this passion within you to let people know, hey, look, we're on this journey. And don't take everything so serious. Don't get in fear. It's about love. Mm-hmm. How do you keep that working? How do you keep it going?
Well, it's interesting. Is that I hear it even from Cyndee going. It's like, I don't even want to tell you anything because you've had so much other stuff happen to me. It doesn't bother me for some odd reason. It's like for the last couple of years in that to keep my facility going, that I gave up everything. I mean, my car, my house, I gave everything up to serve the people. And I really believe that's what it was. At a point, I lived in my office because I wanted to serve the people. This is what my path is. And if you follow your path and don't fight in that, things work out just the way it's supposed to. And it did. It's just the way everything unfolded for me. So if we don't fight it and we just allow it, we get over it. There's lessons I learned. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. There's lessons I learned about it, and at the time, it does hurt. It does bother you. But you know what? I look back at it. No, it's just lessons. I'm not fearful of it. It doesn't hurt me. Old relationships, people, and that the people that I started with of this business and that are no longer around. They moved on. Well, that's what life is about, is that people come to your life, help you, and then they move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't, I feel like sometimes I have that commercial on TV and that, I lived in a one-bedroom apartment until I was 16 years old, and now I have millions of dollars. No, I don't have millions of dollars, but I have that inside me. I am happy. When a person's happy inside them and they really express it, and everything's okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a richness of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the fulfillment of it. Isn't that interesting? Is that, all these people I talk to and read and everything else, I was seeing 45, 50 people a week in that clientele. And I would have these people come up to me and say, how come it is that somebody that has money, people want to throw money at? That's the thing is if you think you have money or prove or show that you have money, people will throw more money at you. My feeling is that I'm so rich inside and that people just will throw love and richness back at me.
Yeah.
It's not in a monetary value in that, but it's in a different value.
Yeah.
And we get that because what people see we think we have, they want to give more of. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's good.
you're a smart dude. I mean, you know the social media, you know webcasting, podcasting. You know so much of computers and connectivity. You've created a show, and you're just doing it. You're just making content. And you know what I like about the entrepreneurial spirit is you're just making it up. You're like, well, what is it that I want to do? And you just make it up.
Well,
People are like, how do I make
what
a
does the
podcast?
universe want? That's really
What's
what it is.
missing?
There you go.
And you're like, well, I think this is missing. Well, maybe you're the one that's supposed to do it.
Amen.
Absolutely.
And you're just like, well, nobody can be Rod, nobody can be Cyndee, so let's just be us and do our thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And people connect with it.
And people,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the whole thing is people connect with it.
Yeah.
You said it right on the nose there. It's like, if I just made classes up, now if people call it made it up, I call it channeling.
That's good. Yeah.
We channel the energy for it to put it in the right place at the right time. The more open we are to something, the more information we will get.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the idea is that, okay, I'm going to channel Google. That what do you want to know from Google? That I'll put David Marsh in there. Oh, you come up in different places then. It's channeling the energies.
Don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
We won't go any further
Don't
than
do
that.
that.
But it is that's Cyndee and I do that all the time. Is that we think of the idea and we create it around as we speak of it.
Mm-hmm.
So as we talk about it, the idea grows. You know, it's building the city upon just nothing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's what we do. Thank you, Leo.
Leo the pug, he
he'll love
loves
it.
to be on camera.
Yes, hi, buddy.
So we're co-creators with God in this universe. I've
Mhm.
heard this so many times. What is it that you're creating? What is the thing that you guys are here to work on? Maybe not like forever, but in this season, what is this thing that you're working on?
Well, besides the podcast, I think that, I believe that we are.
Leo,
Whoops.
living the pug life.
Was that you?
Just
Now your hands are slimy.
you
too.
let go. You let go of it.
That was really serious, Rod. She was about to
I know.
impart some
I
great
know, it's
wisdom.
like, wow.
Now I don't even remember.
No, Leo, I'm not going to do that again. Sorry, honey.
It's all right.
We're trying to create what?
Sorry.
Do I have to rewind the tape so you can find it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So the thing that you're making, the thing that you're creating, the thing that you're working on, what is it within you that wants to work and move? What is the consciousness? What is it that you're working and doing?
Well, for Rod and I, we have this crazy, amazing connection. It's like beyond. It's
Like beyond today?
definitely beyond today,
Beyond
tomorrow,
yesterday, tomorrow.
next
It's
year.
beyond.
Yeah. So we have these really unique miracles and experiences, and we believe that through that we are together for reasons, as you're questioning. Maybe it's to help send out what spirituality is about via podcast, to reach the masses, via podcasts, or teaching classes, I believe that we're here together to help reach out to people who are seeking,
Mm-hmm.
and beyond seeking. There's a lot of people who already know what they have, what they, their intuition and things like that, but a lot of them need help too.
Yeah.
A lot of them are so sensitive, they get sick. Actually, they get intuitively sick because they're too much of an empath. So we're here to also help that, for them as well. I don't know. What else do you think?
Well, Rod told me, he goes, you can't save everybody.
No, you can't.
There's some people that love you, and there's some people, I imagine, that don't like what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. No,
Probably not.
we get a few of those emails.
Yeah.
That it's like, from now on, send it to Cyndee. Her email is.
If it's good, send it to Rod. If it's
Right.
bad, send it to
But
Cyndee.
it's
we-
true. You can't please everyone.
Right,
We
absolutely.
just do the best we can.
Yeah.
Even the idea that what you just said, co-creator of God, that
Mhm.
that's something we're going to get hit on, about that. Because my idea is that co-creator of God is that we're co-creator of our higher self.
Mm.
Now, our higher self can be ourselves.
Mhm.
That we are gods within gods. And so if we're a co-creator of our higher self, we need to listen to our higher self.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the idea is that of having another identity as a god, who is that? So now we're going to hit about that, but
Yeah.
It's whatever you believe.
Yeah.
Okay. Coexistence is the most important thing of everything. Like I said, you can't save everybody,
Yeah.
but you know what? We'll be there to hold space for them.
Well, what you
Yeah,
believe becomes
absolutely.
your reality. Your belief system is that's what's real.
Absolutely.
And until you get new information, you can't change that.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what I'm hoping people get is new information when they listen to your show.
Absolutely.
They listen to there's a lot of content. Absorb as much as you can. You know?
Absolutely.
Story of I have this beautiful client, and I can never mention her name or anything else.
Yeah.
But she's just a gorgeous kind of client. She is in the legal system. She's actually a lawyer, and she's a very high potent lawyer. And when she comes to see me, she closes the door and she starts talking about the second dimension. She talks about her elves that come and help her. She talks about her, a giant elf that actually is a protector of hers and everything else. That she wants to call in all these different beings from the second dimension to help heal her as we work. Now, this woman, imagine if she ever said that on in front of a courthouse or in front of a court of the people she works with, then she would be demeaned.
Bailiff.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. She, the
Chicken
straight jacket.
straight jacket and everything else.
Yeah.
No, wait. Okay, you started talking about dimensions.
Right.
Okay, I think you're going to have to expound on that. Do we have time to expound on that
Oh, yeah.
a little bit?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, come
Because
on.
this is all there is. This is the reality. We
Right.
have 3 dimensions, and maybe with time being a 4th. But this is the only reality
Well,
there
that's
is.
exactly
What I can feel and touch, the materialism. That's all there really is, right, Rod?
No,
No.
sorry. There's more to
So you
it.
tell me there's more. There's
Yeah.
actually
This is
spirit
one.
involved.
This is one.
This is one.
And remember, and this reality that we're in, the third dimension, isn't real anyway. Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Well, see this table here?
Yeah.
It's made up of energy, just like we're made up of energy
Yeah.
and atoms. Atoms are 99.9% empty, which means that we're empty. We're empty energies.
Yeah.
So actually, if we would let go of ourselves, we could actually put our hands through the table because it's made up of the same energy, just different frequencies. It's like Tesla says, it's like you remove matter and mass to ascend.
Yeah.
We're matter and mass. That's how we need to walk through things.
Now we're having a podcast.
Now we're having
Now.
a podcast. So think about this, is that if we are setting on this idea that all frequencies are 99.9% empty in that, we could be able to control and walk. Third dimension is that made up of how we want to see it. I never could tell you how you look at this table, how this cup looks to you guys. That's all different because it's our perception.
Mhm.
Our perception is different in the third dimension. The second dimension, which is the lower dimension, and that's where the elves and the unicorns and everything else, so the healing imps are within that dimension. The brownies and everything else is in the second dimension, which is supposedly within Earth, the core area. The first dimension is actually Earth itself, the foundation, the dirt within it. The fourth dimension now is Purgatory. Purgatory. Think about that.
Purgatory or
It's the same thing. It's the same. It's a difference.
Okay.
It's purgatory and purgatory is actually that definition line in between. Okay,
Huh.
purgatory
Okay.
or purgatory.
Hmm.
It's a definition of in between. That's what the fourth dimension is. That's where they talk about this is in between the veil.
Huh.
Now, people are dimensional walkers. Cyndee's a dimensional walker. You're a dimensional walker. You're a dimensional walker. But it's what you want to see because it's your perception.
Hmm.
Do you want to see elves? Do you want to see gnomes? Do you want to see unicorns? Do you want to believe in them? Do you?
Sounds like craziness to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To you, it
Right.
does, but not to
But
everybody.
not to Gail.
No. Anyway, so it depends on what your perception is towards it. Now, fourth is being the purgatory or
Purgatory.
purgatory. The in-betweens in that, we go into the fifth, sixth, and seventh dimensions in that. The higher dimension we get, the more out in the celestial beings we are. Like seventh and eighth dimension, that we're into this series and Palladians and dimensions and everything else. So what kind of dimensions do we usually see? When we look at people, now we can do this and everybody can do this and we can practice and play with this, that we can see 3 different dimensions that a person is seeing right now. 3 different dimensions with the exact same thing happening in every dimension. We can see how the outcome will be in all 3 of them. This is something that we can practice and watch because we walk between dimensions. The idea is we can never bring anything back from any other dimension except for knowledge. Anything physical we can't drag back because like, hey, I have a sports car in that dimension. I'm going to come this dimension.
Yeah.
So dimensions are top dimensions, and there's the idea that they fold into each other and everything else. They actually can make a square, blah blah blah. And that now there's dimensions in between and dimensions of dimensions. So there's actually like 5 dimensions of this happening right now, but each one has a different outcome in it. And so we can actually see that because that's what our mind is thinking. If we slow our mind down into a manifestation of the mindfulness, okay, and we start mindfully speaking and talking about how this other dimension can be, we can actually have different endings on how this is going to end.
I choose one where the tape works.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
If I were to take
definitely.
Leo the dog here and go out and teach him how to drive my car, he would just look at me. So I feel like you're trying to teach me, and I'm Leo, how to drive a car, and I'm just like, dimensions? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's the idea. Is that just imagine that there's a curtain everywhere we're at, and we can stick our head on the other side of the curtains, and you can't see my curtain, I can't see your curtain, because it's our perception of how we see this.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on the other side, and I can actually see other people. I can see other energies. I can see things that are on the other side of the veil. That Cyndee can see it. You guys can see it. You guys can. It's just how you want to perceive it.
I don't know if my antennas turn on the right channel.
But that's the thing. And that's the whole thing is that of what we want to believe. And I think you said that before, that the more we believe about something, it becomes real.
Yeah, that's
to
your
us.
realities, your
Exactly.
beliefs. Yeah.
And there's so many people that their reality is in different dimensions.
Yeah.
There's fairies, there's angels and everything else. They make their living as a fairy. They make their living as an angel. They make their living doing that. As they spread that word, that's all they are, is that, because that's their dimension they're in.
Yeah.
And we can be whoever we want in any dimension.
So where do the dreams come in? Is that something that's a dimensional thing, or is that just your mind doing stuff, or is it your soul traveling?
I believe it's all the above, actually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I know people receive messages, they receive premonitions and warnings.
Right.
How does the dream world with consciousness work in that?
I'm a dreamer. When I have a dream, Cyndee and I listen to it because there's something about my dreams that say it. Now, you have to understand that we play all the parts in our dreams.
Yeah.
Every part that we have of a person or place or thing, that we're playing that part. But there's a story or a message in everything. Every lie has a seed of truth. So imagine that there's a seed of truth. There's something within that dream that makes it real. So if when you start taking your dream and you blowing it up and going, I'm going to dissect my dream now. It's like ideas like I used to have this dream of that Cyndee and I, for some reason, were always in a car driving, and I had this constant dream over and over and over. And this one dream I had, we pulled over, and a praying mantis was waiting for us to talk to us. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. A praying mantis is a big, tall, 7-foot praying mantis. And then we got out of the car and it would talk to us, and it was telling us something. So now we have to think about, what does a praying mantis mean? Spiritually, what does a praying mantis mean? It means new life. It means new beginnings, new things.
Okay.
So you start looking into that and going, okay, this is kind of cool. Praying mantis means all this, that. But a praying mantis also cuts the head off of their male counterpart. Oh, interesting. What is Cyndee doing to me? What is that about now? There's nothing. She wasn't doing anything mean or anything else than that. It was my own mind telling me, hey, Rod, get out of your head. You know, it's praying mantis. There's new things coming. There's new ideas. Car meant that there's some traveling, there's some movement, there's some changes in life.
Sure.
And that's what it meant. So there's idea that our subconscious is trying to tell us a story. Our essence is telling us the story in our dreams. Now, if a person came to me and says, I don't know how to listen to my essence, I don't know how to listen to my spiritual guides and that, I would tell them to go get a deck of angel cards and say, do you have a message for me? And put out 3 angel cards and read it and see and decipher that message, what you actually think you got.
Wow.
Very interesting.
So that was always framed in that was the devil, or
Absolutely.
whatever. That was dark spirit things. And I'm like, really? The devil wants me to have joy and peace and happiness and life, and the devil wants me to know that I'm loved, and so I guess that's a matter of how you
Perception.
You perceive it. Yeah, you contextualize that.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So that's the dimension of hell.
Yeah.
That's you can be in hell or you can be in heaven.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
dimension you want to be.
And that's the liberty when you realize heaven and hell are states of consciousness rather than a place that you go to. It's the place you're living in right now. You can live in hell right now, or you can live in heaven right now.
Absolutely.
And I choose life. I choose love. I choose happiness. So does
Absolutely.
Gail.
Yes, yes, I do.
So Gail, what else? Anything before we wrap it up?
I think we better wrap it up.
Okay. So I always like to end with the guests sharing, if somebody were to meet you for the first time, Rod, you got to do yours on your show. Cyndee, this is going to go right to you. So if somebody met you for the first time and they wanted to know something really deep and important to you that really matters a lot, what would that thing be that you want them to know?
I would say to go within yourself and listen. You have a lot of good stuff within that will help guide you in your life. To not be afraid, it'll help drop the fear.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Awesome.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys, I appreciate you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
Make sure you check out the Rod and Cyndee podcast. It's amazing. It's another absolute beautiful resource. It gives you new things, new ideas, fun stories. You get to hear all of the things that they get to experience as they go on their journey through this wonderful thing we call life. So, guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm David Marsh, and you've been watching Exploring the Human Journey on YouTube as a video and listening as a podcast. If you would like to help continue the conversation, please consider supporting us by visiting patreon.com, where you can support us on a monthly basis and get extra bonus content. For as little as $1 a month, you can make this show sustainable and help continue spiritual consciousness. You can also help by following us on Facebook and Instagram. For more information about the show, find us online at exploringthehumanjourney.com.